So what is identity theft? Are you at risk? And what can you be doing to make sure that you're prepared if anything happens? These are all things that we should be keeping ourselves aware of. So continuing on with our series on building your financial house and managing your money, we're working on the roof to the financial house. And one of the key components of that roof is an identity theft protection plan. If you haven't seen the first video on managing your money and building your financial house, I'm putting a link up in the description above or a card up above, so that way you guys can click on it and get some basic background before we get into depth in today's video. I'm Bart Mazer. Welcome back to my channel where we teach you how to master your money, build your mindset so you can level up your life. In today's video, we're really discussing the roof of the financial house, which is identity theft protection, and making sure your identity is safe. So let's talk about this for a second. How safe really is your identity? How safe is your information? Think about all the different places that our information resides. Your information is at your doctor's office, your dentist's office, it is with your employer, it is with all your banks, your credit card companies, your mortgage company, it is on the internet and social media. Your information is everywhere. So what's to stop criminals from accessing your information? Your information's really only as safe as the weakest company and the weakest link to that company. So really, let's take a look at what is identity theft to begin with. Well, it's really when somebody steals your information and uses it for really any purpose in place of you. So it could be somebody that is stealing your information to file taxes, or they're stealing your information to open an account in your name. It could be anything, and it could be a parent, which I hope this never happens, but it does, where they steal their child's information to maybe open a water bill or something like that. So you want to make sure that your identity and your information is being monitored. And there's really 4 areas that we need to be concerned of. It's financial, government, criminal, and medical. So an example of each would be financial would be, the basics, like somebody steals your identity and opens a credit card in your name. Government would be maybe they steal your passport and poses you as in the passport in some way. Criminal could be, they're posing as you and they commit a crime and then they pin it on you somehow. And then medical could be, hey, they're just trying to get some prescription drugs and they're posing as you to get those prescriptions, to get their fix or their high or whatever's going on, okay? So you just want to make sure that you're monitored. And how do you protect yourself against these things? The first thing you should do is you should hire a company or a service in order to protect your identity. They have basically identity theft protection insurance. So when looking at a company to protect your identity, there's a couple things that you want to make sure that they do. The first is you want to make sure that they monitor all of your stuff. Okay, so you want to make sure they're monitoring your personal information. Personal information being your social security number, birthdays, your driver's license, your passport, those types of things. You want to make sure they're monitoring your financial information, which would be your bank accounts, your investment accounts, credit, those types of things. And then lastly is you want to make sure that they're monitoring your web access and your social media. So that way, if there's any breaches in social media, people are posing as you, that those things can be taken care of, okay? So that's the monitoring portion. The next thing that we should be looking that the company does is counseling. So they should have a dedicated line that you can call in an emergency and speak with somebody in order to get the ball rolling and guide you along the process of each step on what to do next. So that way there's no wasted time and you guys are good to go. The last part of what they should be looking to do is full restoration. Some companies, all they do is they just say, hey, something happened, and then you're kind of on your own. That's just a monitoring service, right? Some will give you counseling, but they won't see it all the way through. So you want to make sure that you find a company that's going to actually help you, guide you every step of the way, and actually do a lot of the steps for you in order to fully restore your information and your identity back to how it was prior to the incident happening, so that way you still have a good name. So now, once you have a great company in place, now you want to make sure that you're taking basic steps on your own in order to prevent identity from happening in the first place. So here's a couple ideas that I have. The first tip I have is freeze your credit. So you can go to the 3 different credit bureaus and you can actually freeze your credit so that nobody can open up anything in your name, as well as yourself, until you unfreeze it later. So that's the first thing. And along with that is making sure that every single year you print an annual credit report. You can get one free every year. There's a bunch of different sites that do it. Make sure you look up a trusted one and just review your credit report to make sure that everything's on the up and up and there's nothing that should be disputed on there. The second idea I have is to change your passwords on all of your accounts on a regular basis. If you keep staying a step ahead of people, the criminals out there, then you'll be good to go. Okay, so just make sure you're changing your passwords. You never know if you accidentally left it on and your crazy brother-in-law stole your password. Just change it. Hackers are always trying to get in there, so make sure you change it anyway. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is whenever you're surfing Wi-Fi, use a virtual private network or a VPN in order to protect your information. So that way your computer's not getting, your network is not getting hacked through the Wi-Fi. So make sure you're using a VPN to scramble your information so that way while you're surfing safe. The fourth tip I have is making sure that you shred any documents that you're no longer immediately using. So if it doesn't have to be filed in a safe locked box, then it should be shredded if you're no longer using it anymore. So that way you're not throwing out information with your name on it into the trash and somebody can go through that and be like, here's some free information. So make sure that you have that shredded and ripped up, torn up. Use a shredder, it's probably better, and you're gonna be good to go on that. And the fifth and last little quick tip I have for you is, make sure that you're monitoring your bank account statements on a regular basis and your credit card statements. So that way, if there's anything that pops up there, you're catching it right away. Because sometimes, as good as these companies are for identity theft protection, they can't catch everything. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up with everything on your own, so that way you're good. So having all these things in place really helps secure the shingles to the roof of your financial house, so that way as we're building your financial house, there's no leaks. I really hope you guys found value in what we shared with you today. Keep your information safe, and if you like the information that we shared, like, subscribe, do all that other stuff, hit the buttons, the bells, all that. Really tired. It's getting late. Okay. Filming at night. Long day at work today. Yeah.